But Douglas Murray, our own Douglas Murray, has done an amazing interview, exclusive interview with the Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu. And frankly, without further ado, let's hear Mr. Netanyahu talking basically about Iran being behind all of the trouble. Let's watch.
You can see what is happening with a much smaller country, a much less dangerous country, North Korea. It develops nuclear weapons, and half of Asia quakes in fear, can threaten Japan, and maybe very soon the United States itself. Well, Iran is different from North Korea because Iran has an ideology of domination and conquest and subjugation. They call us the small Satan. They call the U.S. the great Satan. They chant death to Israel, death to America. Can the United States, can Europe, can the civilized world allow such a regime to have nuclear weapons? And the answer is no. So the jury is out on all of us.
What this means, Charlie, is while the rest of the world now basically calls for, at the very least, a humanitarian pause in the fighting, Mr. Netanyahu has no such plans on his agenda. He's going to carry on.
I think that's absolutely right. And look, we have to be very clear about this. On the 7th of October, Israel suffered a terrorist attack.
A genocide, I would suggest.
Hamas is an organisation that, went into Israel, broke territory lines and, open-fired indiscriminatory against women, girls, elderly, young, old, regardless of who you are. It was an abhorrent attack. And Israel obviously has a right to defend itself when it goes into Gaza. However, we have to make sure whenever there is war and conflict, as desperate and depressing though it is, there are always going to be innocent civilians, people who have no interest in those conflicts, no interest in that terror, no interest in further division in that particular part of the world. Those people in Gaza need to have the humanitarian aid to go into those parts of the country. You need to make sure that when you are attacking Hamas, who is a cruel and abhorrent organisation, that you are taking out people that work for Hamas and not innocent civilians.
We're going to touch on this again very shortly, but the problem is, frankly, that you've got a pretty hostile regime in Tehran creating a lot of mess, stirring the pot in such a way that it's frankly extremely dangerous. And arguably, we have aided and abetted that by trading with Iran, trading goods such as chemical products, trading goods such as nuclear reactors, trading goods such as optical lenses, which I'm pretty sure are being put into these unmanned drones. I mean, we've been idiots, haven't we?
Well, Iran is now a very serious threat, I would argue. Whether it's, you're absolutely right, whether it's Hezbollah or the Houthis that we're seeing, obviously, in the Red Sea. Iran is funding these organisations. They are training them, and they are clearly attacking Western life, Western values, Western interests to destabilise trade or to destabilise a way of life, and they need to be curtailed. And I think it is absolutely right that, well, whoever the President of the United States is, you want them to be in the most strongest position possible to talk in no uncertain terms and talk tough against Iran to make sure that they understand, whoever they're funding, by whatever means, third parties or themselves directly, we are not going to put up with that kind of behaviour.
Meanwhile, we don't really have time to talk about this, but worth noting that Labour MP for Edmonton, Kate Osamor, has had the Labour whip suspended after tweeting a comparison between what she called the genocide in Gaza to the genocide of the Holocaust, and therefore that is clearly anti-Semitic. She's had the whip banned for her. Labour still have that problem.